She claims God is her savior and acts like the perfect Christian woman. But Alexis Bellino's return to Real Housewives of Orange County has exposed a vindictive side that uses blackmail, lawsuits, and manipulation to destroy others. From threatening to release DUI videos to enabling shady men, Jesus Jugs is showing her true colors. The most shocking incident from Alexis's return is her threat to release Ring camera videos from the night of Shannon Beer's September 2023 DUI arrest. During a Big Bear trip on Season 18, Alexis told cast members Tamra Judge, Jennifer Pedranti, and Katie Janela that she had horrific videos that could ruin Shannon's life. Alexis claimed the videos were 10 times worse than anyone could imagine. She said once she saw them, she couldn't go back to feeling the same about Shannon. Then came the threat that John Jansen would expose the footage if Shannon didn't stop lying about him. This is textbook extortion. John's own lawyer admitted during legal proceedings that John was holding the videos for blackmail purposes as insurance in case Shannon goes off the rails. Emily Simpson, who has a law degree, called it blackmail and said it sounded like extortion that was disgusting. When Shannon's lawyer clarified about the videos, John's attorney confirmed they were being held specifically for blackmail. John had Ring camera footage of Shannon when she was intoxicated before leaving his house and getting into the accident. Instead of deleting the footage or handling it privately, he kept it to use as ammunition against his ex-girlfriend. Alexis acted as John's mouthpiece for this blackmail scheme. She's the one who told the cast about the videos. She's the one who threatened they would be released. She's the one who described them as horrific and life-ruining. She willingly participated in attempting to extort Shannon into silence through threats of public humiliation. The backlash was immediate and severe. Fans called out Alexis for claiming to be a woman of faith while engaging in blackmail. One viewer wrote that as a woman of faith, they found it hypocritical of Alexis to aid in blackmail and exposing someone, especially for things unrelated to her. They said that is not a woman of God, and Alexis should be ashamed. When confronted about the threat on a red carpet, Alexis and John backpedaled. John claimed he never said he would release the videos. Alexis suddenly claimed she didn't even know the cameras were rolling when she made the threat, saying she thought it was off camera. Fans immediately called out that John threw Alexis under the bus and that she lied about his intent. In 2018, Alexis's then-husband, Jim Bellino, sued Shannon Beer and Tamara Judge for $1 million for defamation. Jim was angry after Shannon and Tamara appeared on a podcast and discussed his trampoline park business, with Tam calling him shady and suggesting he would go to jail. Alexis has consistently claimed she had nothing to do with the lawsuit. She insists Jim filed it on his own and she wasn't involved, but Shannon has receipts that prove otherwise. Shannon revealed that Alexis sent her a cease and desist type letter before the lawsuit was filed. The text messages Shannon showed on camera were damning. Alexis wrote to Shannon, "We have engaged an attorney and will be suing you and Tamara." She later added, "You will be hearing from our attorney." These messages prove Alexis was directly involved in threatening legal action. When confronted during Season 18, Alexis tried to explain away the texts. She claimed she sent them at Jim's request when he called her very upset. She said someone gave her Shannon's phone number, and she texted both Shannon and Tam saying, "Please just shut your mouth and this will be happening." But her explanation doesn't hold up. Alexis chose to send those threatening texts. She chose to help Jim intimidate Shannon and Tam. She chose to be part of the lawsuit process, even if her name wasn't officially on the paperwork. Then she lied about it for years, denying any involvement until Shannon produced the text messages. Alexis later posted on Instagram trying to defend herself, claiming the text was her attempt to stop the ball from rolling, sent at Jim's request while their family was in shambles from their divorce. She said she never supported Jim suing them and wasn't part of the lawsuit. But her actions tell a different story. The lawsuit dragged on for 3 years. Shannon won her case in 2020 and was awarded over $137,000 in attorney fees. Tamara settled with Jim in 2021 under confidential terms. Tamara claimed on the Season 18 premiere she lost $500,000 from the lawsuit. Shannon was traumatized by the legal battle. As a single mother, she spent 3 years going through emotional and financial difficulties. She lost $300,000 defending herself for something she didn't even do. And Alexis was part of starting that nightmare with her threatening text messages. Alexis started dating John Jansen in late 2023, just months after he broke up with Shannon following her DUI arrest. The timing was suspicious and hurtful. John wasted no time moving on from his relationship of nearly 4 years with Shannon. What makes this particularly evil is that Alexis knew exactly what she was doing. She had history with Shannon through the show and the lawsuit. She knew dating Shannon's ex would create massive drama and pain, but she did it anyway, seemingly for the opportunity to return to RH. Alexis's own ex-husband, Jim, questioned her motives. On a podcast, Jim said he didn't understand why Alexis returned to RH as just a friend instead of a full-time cast member. He said it didn't make financial sense unless there were other reasons. He also called John very secretive and questioned what John actually does for a living. Fans immediately accused Alexis and John of using each other to get back on the show. Bravo loves a good love triangle, and Alexis delivered one by dating Shannon's ex. Many viewers believe Alexis weaponized the relationship specifically to secure her return to television. Alexis denied the accusations, posting on Instagram that she and John were equal opportunists using each other, followed by laughing emojis. The joke fell flat. It wasn't funny to mock the situation when Shannon was genuinely hurt and dealing with serious legal and personal issues. The engagement happened suspiciously fast. After just 9 months of dating, John proposed in August 2024. Alexis posted about being on cloud 9 and celebrating 9 months of love and laughter. But to outside observers, it looked like a relationship built on revenge and television storylines rather than genuine love. Throughout season 18, Alexis positioned herself as John's defender and spokesperson. She made his battles with Shannon her mission. Every episode featured Alexis ranting about how John is being abused and lied about, how he's nothing but kind and generous, and how Shannon has ruined his reputation. During the Big Bear trip, Alexis said she gets really worked up about John and is so over him being abused and lied about. She told the women that Shannon has pushed them to the point where if she doesn't stop lying, John will expose the videos. She was literally threatening Shannon on John's behalf. Emily Simpson pointed out during interviews that Alexis was acting as John's mouthpiece rather than being her own person. The plan seemed to be a total takedown of Shannon and public humiliation. Alexis wasn't just dating John. She was serving as his attack dog against his ex-girlfriend. At dinners and events, Alexis would have John on FaceTime so he could participate in confrontations with Shannon remotely. The staged nature of these moments made it clear Alexis was coordinating attacks with John. She wasn't defending him spontaneously. She was executing a planned campaign of harassment. When Alexis confronted Shannon at a party, she dramatically raised her voice and said, "There's the door, Shannon Beer," in a way that felt very rehearsed. Having John on FaceTime during the confrontation proved Alexis wasn't interested in resolving anything. She just wanted to humiliate Shannon on camera. Alexis claimed she had to defend John because Shannon was saying lies about him throughout the community. But even if Shannon said negative things about her ex-boyfriend, that's between Shannon and John. Alexis inserting herself so aggressively into their conflict showed poor judgment and vindictive intentions. In November 2024, Alexis posted on Instagram praising John for finally sharing his story with Entertainment Tonight. She accused RH of twisting private information that John shared in confidence with friends. Then she posted a receipt showing a spreadsheet of money John allegedly spent on Shannon during their relationship. The spreadsheet claimed John spent over $455,000 on Shannon. Alexis presented this as proof that John was generous and Shannon was ungrateful. She said the final scene of season 18 pushed John into a corner by sharing private information and using it against him. This public financial attack on Shannon was cruel and unnecessary. Even if John did spend that much money on Shannon during their relationship, that was his choice. Gifts given during a relationship aren't loans that need to be repaid. Posting a detailed spreadsheet of expenses made it look like John had been keeping receipts the entire time they dated. The spreadsheet incident showed that Alexis and John were coordinating their public attacks on Shannon. Alexis wasn't just defending her boyfriend. She was actively helping him wage war against his ex. The level of calculation and vindictiveness required to create and post financial spreadsheets is disturbing. Shannon's friends and supporters pointed out that if John felt he was owed money, he could handle it through the legal system privately. Instead, Alexis broadcast the financial details on social media for maximum humiliation. This wasn't about getting repaid. It was about destroying Shannon's reputation. John Jansen filed a lawsuit against Shannon in March 2024 for breach of oral contract and promissory fraud, claiming she owed him $75,000 he allegedly loaned her for a facelift. Shannon issued a statement saying she was shocked and disappointed by the lawsuit. Alexis stood by John throughout this legal battle, despite the obvious timing issues. John filed the lawsuit right as Alexis returned to RHOC, creating maximum drama for the show. The lawsuit conveniently provided a storyline that would carry through the entire season. When Shannon initially tried to settle by offering half the amount, John refused. But after Shannon learned about the blackmail videos, she offered to pay the full $75,000 with one condition. They both had to sign an undisparagement clause. John declined this offer. His refusal to accept the money with a non-disparagement clause proved the lawsuit wasn't really about the money. If John genuinely just wanted repayment, he would have accepted Shannon's offer. Instead, he wanted to maintain his ability to keep talking about Shannon publicly and keep the videos as leverage. Alexis defended John's decision not to settle, claiming Shannon had been talking badly about him for 5 years. She acted like John was the victim, ignoring that he was suing his ex-girlfriend while simultaneously threatening to release humiliating videos of her. The hypocrisy was stunning. Fans noted that it was very interesting that Alexis has now been around 2 men who sued Shannon. First, her ex-husband Jim, now her fiancé John. Alexis claimed this coincidence was just crazy and insisted she had nothing to do with either lawsuit. But the pattern suggests Alexis attracts or enables men who use litigation as a weapon against women. During Alexis's first run on RHOC from seasons 5 through 8, she played the role of submissive biblical wife to Jim Bellino. She famously said, "God is my savior. My husband is my king," and positioned herself as someone who served her husband according to biblical principles. Vicki Gunn-Olsen recalled that Alexis was very much about protecting her man and serving him as a biblical wife. Alexis told herself she would stay in the marriage until their kids were 16, even if things didn't improve. She said they were in therapy constantly, but weren't going anywhere better. The Biblical Wife Act allowed Jim to control Alexis and dismiss her. Jim channeled Shane Simpson vibes way before Emily Simpson's husband was even on the show. He was controlling and dismissive, treating Alexis more like property than a partner. Looking back, the biblical wife persona seems like an act Alexis used to avoid taking responsibility for her own choices. By positioning herself as submissive to her husband, she could claim she wasn't accountable for anything that happened during their marriage. It was always Jim's decisions, Jim's business, Jim's choices. After they divorced in 2018, Alexis admitted she never thought she would get divorced until the very last day she filmed season 8. She had convinced herself she would hang in there until the kids were 16. But things kept spiraling down and therapy wasn't helping. The fact that Alexis stayed so long in an unhealthy marriage while playing the perfect Christian wife on television shows she prioritizes image over authenticity. She'd rather maintain the facade than admit the reality of her situation and get help or leave sooner. Throughout her return to RH, Alexis has repeatedly turned off Instagram comments on posts about John Jansen. When she wants to post couple photos or defend their relationship, she disables comments so no one can criticize her. In February 2024, Alexis posted a photo with John addressing their haters. She wrote about being equal opportunists using each other for this one pic, then specifically noted, "Oops, the comments are off." She was mocking people for wanting to criticize her while simultaneously preventing them from doing so. This pattern shows Alexis can't handle legitimate criticism. She wants to control the narrative and only allow positive responses. Instead of ignoring negative comments or learning from criticism, she shuts down all discussion entirely. Turning off comments while simultaneously mocking critics is particularly cowardly. If Alexis truly believed in her relationship and choices, she'd leave comments on and let people share their opinions. Instead, she posts provocative content, then hides from the backlash. During season 18, Alexis admitted that she'd had to turn comments off and received death threats. Tom Bra praised her for standing strong during that time. But death threats are different from legitimate criticism about her behavior. Alexis conflates all negative feedback as hateful attacks rather than distinguishing between threats and valid concerns. Alexis's friendship with Tamara Judge has been questioned as convenient rather than genuine. During Alexis's first run on the show, Tamara was her biggest enemy. Tamara labeled Alexis Jesus Jugs and threw her out of a dinner party in season 8 after Alexis tried to mend fences. Now suddenly they're best friends again. Jim Bellino stated on a podcast that he doesn't think Alexis and Tamara are truly friends. He thinks it's a relationship out of convenience for the show. Even Alexis admitted on Vicky Gunson's podcast that Tamara kind of screwed her a little bit on one of the scenes. Alexis said Tamara and they have gotten so deep and down there, referencing their past issues. She claimed Tamara admitted she was an a-hole to Alexis and they talked it through and forgave each other. But this convenient reconciliation happened right before Alexis needed an ally to return to Arch. Tamara has been Alexis's main defender throughout season 18. She defended John as a nice guy after years of not liking him when he dated Shannon. She told her Instagram followers that they'll change their tune about Alexis as the season continues, saying Alexis has a huge heart and doesn't have a mean bone in her body. But Tamara's defense doesn't match what viewers are seeing. Alexis is threatening blackmail, helping her fiancé sue her castmate, and acting as an attack dog for a man she's known less than a year. That doesn't show a huge heart. It shows someone willing to hurt others for television storylines and male validation. The friendship feels transactional. Tamara gets an ally who will back her plays and create drama. Alexis gets protection from the housewife who once called her Jesus Jugs and threw her out of parties. Neither seems genuinely invested in the other's well-being. After facing massive backlash for threatening to release Shannon's DUI videos, Alexis tried to walk back her statements. At a red carpet event in October 2024, she claimed she had no idea Bravo cameras were rolling when she discussed the videos with her castmates. Alexa said you filmed for 12 hours and she was with her girlfriends and thought she was doing something off camera. She claimed she didn't even remember telling the friends about the videos on camera and thought it was off camera. This explanation insults viewers' intelligence. First, Alexis is not a new housewife. She appeared on RHOC for 4 seasons originally. She knows how filming works. She knows cameras are always rolling during official filming days. The Big Bear trip was an organized cast event, not a casual hangout. Second, even if the conversation happened off camera, that doesn't make it better. Alexis still threatened to release private videos of someone at their lowest moment. The problem isn't that she said it on camera, it's that she said it at all and participated in a blackmail scheme. Third, Alexis's story doesn't match what John said. John claimed he never said he would release the videos and never had any intention of doing so, but Alexis specifically told the cast that John would expose the footage if Shannon didn't stop lying. One of them is lying. Fans immediately noted that John threw Alexis under the bus by denying he ever planned to release the videos. If John never intended to release them, then Alexis lied too. The cast about his intentions. If John did intend to release them, then he's lying now to avoid legal consequences. Either way, Alexis is caught in a lie. Alexis and John's engagement after just 9 months of dating raised major red flags. Most couples take years to get engaged, especially when both parties have been through divorces and have multiple children from previous relationships. John has 4 kids from his previous relationships. Alexis has 3 kids with Jim Bellino. That's 7 children total who would be affected by this rushed engagement. Yet John proposed after less than a year together, and Alexis immediately said yes, without apparent hesitation. The timing coincided perfectly with RHOC filming. The engagement gave Alexis a major storyline for the season. It also solidified her position as John's partner, making her involvement in his conflicts with Shannon seem more legitimate in her mind. Jim Bellino expressed concerns about the engagement on a podcast. He questioned whether John would sign a prenup, calling John very secretive about what he does for a living. Jim said if it was very vague what he did, he would want to share that because there shouldn't be a question about anybody's motivation. When Andy Cohen asked Alexis on Watch What Happens Live about signing a prenup, Alexis deflected. Jim pointed out that Andy asked the wrong question. The real question should have been whether John would sign a prenup given his secretive nature about his finances and business. Alexis claimed on Vicky's podcast that John hasn't shown one red flag, not even a yellow or orange one. But her defensive insistence that there are no red flags suggests she knows people are questioning the relationship. The lady doth protest too much. During her return to RH, Alexis has discussed her child Miles, who is transgender, while supporting her son's identity as commendable. The way Alexis has used Miles' story for television raises ethical questions about exploitation. Alexis introduced Miles on Watch What Happens Live and has discussed his transition during RH episodes. While representation matters, children of reality stars often don't have a choice about their stories being shared publicly. Miles' transition journey is deeply personal, and having it broadcast on reality TV could impact him for years. Alexis positions herself as a supportive mother, which she may genuinely be, but she's also using her son's gender identity as a storyline to make herself look progressive and caring. The line between support and exploitation is thin, and Alexis seems to dance on it. Reality TV children often grow up to resent having their private lives broadcast. Miles is now 18, but his transition journey has been discussed publicly since he was younger. Alexis made choices to share his story that Miles may not have fully understood the implications of at the time. Using her son's transgender identity while simultaneously claiming to be a biblical woman of faith also shows some cognitive dissonance. Many conservative Christian circles that Alexis previously aligned with don't support transgender identities. Her shift seems convenient rather than genuine growth. In November 2024, Alexis posted photos from Thanksgiving celebrating their modern family. The post included her 3 kids, John's 4 kids, and their extended family all together. She praised how wonderfully their families have blended. But this performative display of family unity came right as Alexis was posting spreadsheets about John's expenses on Shannon and praising his tell-all interview attacking his ex. The cognitive dissonance of celebrating family while actively working to destroy someone else's life was stunning. The modern family post felt like damage control. After weeks of backlash over the video threats and lawsuit, Alexis wanted to present herself as happy and family-oriented. But you can't claim to value family while threatening to release humiliating videos of your fiancé's ex-girlfriend. Additionally, forcing all these kids together for photo opportunities less than a year into the relationship seems premature. Alexis's insistence on performing perfect family bliss while simultaneously engaging in vindictive behavior shows she cares more about image than reality. She wants the appearance of happiness without doing the actual work of being a good person. Throughout season 18 and in press interviews, Alexis has refused to take accountability for any of her behavior. When confronted about the video threats, she claims she didn't know cameras were rolling. When asked about the lawsuit involvement, she insists she had nothing to do with it despite text evidence. When Shannon pointed out at their first confrontation that Alexis started the ball rolling on the defamation lawsuit by sending a cease and desist letter, Alexis demanded Shannon show proof of her name on anything because Jim and she had been divorced for 6 months when he sued. But Alexis's defense doesn't hold. 6 months when he sued. But Alexis's defense doesn't hold up. Being divorced when the lawsuit was filed doesn't erase her threatening text to Shannon before the filing. Alexis chose to send those messages. She chose to participate in intimidating Shannon. Then she lied about it for years. When fans criticized Alexis for her behavior, she turned off comments instead of listening to feedback. When castmates questioned her actions, she got defensive and blamed Shannon for making her act this way. Alexis has an excuse for everything, but never admits wrongdoing. This pattern of refusing accountability shows a lack of character growth. Alexis hasn't learned from her mistakes because she doesn't believe she makes mistakes. Everyone else is always wrong and she's always the victim of unfair treatment or misunderstanding. Looking at Alexis's relationship history shows a disturbing pattern of enabling men who behave badly. First, Jim Bellino, who controlled her and sued her castmates. Now, John Jansen, who is suing his ex and threatening to release humiliating videos. Alexis doesn't just passively stand by these men. She actively helps them. She sent threatening texts for Jim. She threatens to release videos for John. She posts spreadsheets attacking Shannon for John. She appears on podcasts defending both men's lawsuits. This pattern suggests Alexis is attracted to men who need defending. Or she enables bad behavior by always taking her partner's side no matter what. Either way, she ends up in relationships where she's defending indefensible actions. Jim called John very secretive and questioned what he does for a living. Other cast members have questioned Jay's character, but Alexis insists he's never shown a single red flag. She's either in denial or willfully ignoring warning signs because she wants the relationship to work for her return to television. The most concerning part is that Alexis's children are watching her enable these men. Her sons and daughter are learning that loyalty means defending your partner even when they're wrong. They're learning that love looks like helping your partner attack and intimidate others. These are dangerous lessons that could affect their own future relationships. From threatening blackmail to enabling lawsuits, fake friendships to Christian hypocrisy, Alexis Bellino's return to RH has exposed her as vindictive, manipulative, and willing to destroy others for fame. Behind the Jesus jugs facade is someone who hurts people without remorse. What shocked you most?